Welcome to Build Your Arsenal. Today's video is a guide to help you understand Sig Sauer's handgun model numbers and figure out that system and nomenclature. But before we start, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're getting into handguns or just interested in Sig Sauer handguns, their model numbers can be very confusing. I have a P210, P226, P320, P322, and P365 here, but the model numbers don't have any rhyme or reason, and it makes it difficult if you're new to SIG to figure out which model is which. There's a tendency for manufacturers to do that in the handgun world. Glock's numbering is an excellent example of this. So this video is intended to guide figuring it out and is what I wish I had had. I hope it brings some order to the chaos and helps beyond just having to memorize it. A few caveats before we proceed. We're only looking at current and recent production P Series handguns, so no 1911s. Plus, we're sticking with the numbers here, not every variant that exists. Much of what I say will be a general rule, but there are exceptions. So again, I'm generalizing here. So let's get started. The letter P in the model number stands for pistol, or Pistole, the German word for pistol. Now to the numbers. There's some good news and bad news here. As far as I know, there isn't any scheme for the numbering other than the production progression, but I think we can simplify it or at least make it make a little bit more sense. As a rule, the first digit in the model numbers can tell you whether the handgun is hammer fired or striker fired. So the hammer fired pistols will start with a 2 or a 9. And by a nice coincidence, a 1 for the 1911s. So there, I even included 1911s when I said I wouldn't. By contrast, the striker-fired pistols will start with a 3. But here we already have an exception with the P322, a hammer-fired handgun calibered for 22. But the key point to remember is that if it starts with a 2, it's hammer-fired. If it starts with a 3, it's striker-fired. So we'll start with the P200 series, with the first digit signifying that it's hammer fired. Now moving on to the second and third digits. The second digit can tell you if it is single stacked or double stacked. The P210 is a single stacked pistol, so the 1 in the P210 can be a helpful mnemonic to remember that it's single stacked versus the 2, which is double stacked like the P226. But here's another exception. The P220 is a single stacked pistol. If it has a 3 as the second digit, it's also single stacked with the P238 and P938. The third digit is only significant or helpful in the Sig P220 series. The 6 in the P220 lineup is the P226, the flagship model. This is your full-size hammer-fired all-metal offering that was Sig's entrant into the military trials that replaced the 1911. It's available in 9mm, 357 Sig, or 40 Smith & Wesson. The 0, or the P220, is your full-size pistol, but it comes in the big boy calibers, the 45 ACP or 10mm. Lastly, the 9, or the P229, is the compact size. I want to cover the P238 and P938 here. These are micro compact, single action only, single stack 1911-ish pistols minus the grip safety. The 38 would make you think that they're 380s, but only the 238 is a 380 ACP. The 938 is the 9mm version. So a helpful mnemonic here is that it's 380 ACP if it contains 38, unless the first number is a 9, then it's in 9mm. Okay, we've covered the first digit being a 2 and typically being a hammer-fired all-metal offering. Now on to the first digit being a 3 and being a striker-fired SIG, which is the P300 series. These are striker-fired handguns except for the P322 in 22. They're typically polymer frames as well, but there are exceptions like the AXG I have here. But that's a different video for another time. In the P300 world, there are two main handgun models, the P320 and the P365, which are modular handguns with a fire control unit or FCU. One huge advantage to the modularity is the almost endless number of variants, making them difficult to classify in a video like this. The P320 won the US Army's modular handgun system contract. The pistol size for the P320 is not designated by the number, unlike the P226 and the P229. So a compact isn't a P329, it's a P320. No matter the pistol size, a P320 is a P320, but these are your traditional handguns, full size and compact. The model number also doesn't change with the caliber. You get a P320 in 9mm, 45 auto, or 10mm. Then, of course, we have the P365, the high capacity micro compact and America's #1 selling handgun. Of course, the 365 is a reference to being able to carry it 365 days a year. This is another modular design by Sig. As with the P320, the sizes aren't designated by a model number. Instead, you have the XL, X Macro, and Fuse. Again, another video for another time. The P365 is 9mm, but there is a 380 ACP variant. Lastly, for the 300 series, we have the P322. Here, the 22 designates it as a 22 calibered handgun. This is hammer fired. However, the design and the ergonomics are similar to the P320 and the P365. Finally, we have the SP2022, specifically the SP2022 carry to cover current production SIG handguns. This is a P229 with a polymer frame. So that covers SIG's model numbers for their current production handguns. It takes so much time to get the nomenclature down for gun manufacturers, and this would have been useful to me as I was learning about Sig Sauer handguns and pistols. If a further video explaining the differences between the variants within the models like Legion, AXG, Fuse, and Macro would be helpful, let me know in the comments. Sig Sauer handguns are fantastic firearms, which is why I keep adding them to my arsenal. Thanks for watching and see you next time.